Maharaj, with your permission, I will share the screen.
Please, we're waiting.
Sorry, Maharaj, there was some other call going and I just tried to reclaim, but there was some problem. Sorry.
Mhm.
Over to you, Maharaj.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Umaram Darsayam Chestam Praksaneyam Rajakasam Rudaniva Hasam Buddha Balasamhavalokanaha. When the Lord displayed his activities just suitable for childhood, he was visible only to the residents of Vrindavan. Sometimes he would cry and sometimes laugh just like a child. And while so doing, he would appear like a lion cub. Purport. If anyone wants to enjoy the childhood pastimes of the Lord, he has to follow in the footsteps of the residents of Braj like Nanda, Upananda, and other parental inhabitants. A child may insist on having something and cry like anything to get it, disturbing the whole neighborhood. And then immediately after achieving the desired thing, he laughs. Such crying and laughing is enjoyable to the parents and to the elderly members of the family. So the Lord would simultaneously cry and laugh in this way, and merge his devotee parents in the humor of transcendental pleasure. Hmm. These incidents are enjoyable only by the residents of Braj like Nanda Maharaj and not by the impersonalist worshippers of Brahman or Paramama. Sometimes, when attacked in the forest by demons, Krishna would appear struck with wonder, but he would look on them like a cub of a lion and kill them. His childhood companions would also be struck with wonder, and then they would come back home. They would narrate the stories to their parents, and everyone would appreciate the qualities of their Krishna. Child Krishna did not belong only to his parents, Nanda and Yasoda. He was the son of all the elderly inhabitants of Vrindavan and a friend of all contemporary boys and girls. Everyone loved Krishna. He was the life and soul of everyone, including the animals, the cows, and the calves. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptitam Yena Bhutalai Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swam Padatikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimakte Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Yoravani Pacharini Devasesa Sindhyavadi Pasyatya De Satari Devanshakalpa Terubhischa Vipa Sindhu Be Pacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So, the Lord is absolute, and He can appear in any form, and even the form of Krishna, He can appear as any age in that form. He does in three different ages called Bala, Paganda, and Kishore. His ages are youth, boyhood, and then youthhood. And in those three ages, he performs pastimes according to that particular age. Now it says that although he may be calculated as 3 years old, he is more like 5 years old. No, more than that. For actually, let me see. For every year of Krishna's age, he was equal to a year and a half as a normal child. So when he was 5, he was more like 7.5. And when he was 10, he was more like 15. And when he was 15, he was appeared a little bit older. But his age has never reached past the age of 15, actually. 15, not quite 16, just about 2 months short of 16. So he's playing his pastimes with his eternal residence in the sacred land of Vrindavan. And he plays as a little child. He cries, he laughs, he's very mischievous. But then again, he does superhuman activities also, killing big demons when he was a little child, just like Putana came. Sakatashvara came, cart demon. That was the first demon he killed, a cart demon. He was just a baby lying underneath the cart. And one particular demon took the form of a cart and was going to kill Krishna. Krishna, laying underneath the cart, kicked the cart with his little tiny baby foot, and the whole cart came crashing down. It was full with all utensils and things that they were going to use for a big festival. And then, of course, everyone ran to see what was happening, whether the child was all right. And they picked him up and they were all worried about him and they all showed their loving affection towards him, that he was not injured by the cart. But, and that cart was an actual demon, so he killed the demon in the form of a cart. Well, actually, the demon entered into the cart, and then Krishna destroyed the cart and the demon simultaneously. When he was about a little older than that, he killed this powerful witch named Putana. She was, her business was to kill little children. She would go around killing little children. That was her business. You have people like that today. They're called doctors who perform abortions. Pretty much the same thing. Because when the child is in the womb, it is alive. From the beginning of conception, when the ovum is fertilized, the child starts to grow. Of course, until it gets about 1 or 2 weeks old, there's no visible form of the child. But when it's 7 months old, it's fully grown within the womb. So these doctors, on the orders of the mothers and others, they're actually killing children, and they're no better than Putana. They call it some kind of medical treatment or some freedom from getting the mother, giving her responsibilities to take care of the child. Prabhupada said this abortion is very heavy, sinful activities, both for the mother and for the doctors to perform it. And one has to also take birth and be killed in the womb, life after life, if they continue to commit this sinful activity. Because life doesn't begin when the baby comes out, the life begins in the womb. And so that can be proven simply by the fact that it grows. Something that grows is alive. So the child is growing in the womb. That shows that there's life already within the womb. Anyway, so this Rakshashi, she was commissioned by Kamsa. Kamsa said so many demons. And she smeared this very deadly poison upon her breast. And she came in, she disguised herself as a beautiful lady. And no one said anything because She seemed to be so beautiful. And she just went right over to the child, picked up the child, and offered her breast milk. Krishna was thinking, oh, here comes my mother in the form of a demon. Because a nurse, one who nurses the baby, sometimes the mother doesn't always nurse the baby. Sometimes there is a nurse, call it the wet nurse. She nurses the baby, and she's considered to be one of the seven mothers. There are seven mothers in the life of a living being. The earth is considered mother. The cow is considered mother. A real mother is considered mother. And then the nurse, and then the wife of the um, president of the country. That's she's also considered mother. The wife of a brahmana called Brahmani. She is also considered mother. So altogether, there's seven mothers, and therefore, and all women are also considered to be mother by a man who um, all men see women as mother, except for their own wife. They don't treat their wife as mother. They treat all other ladies as mother. Mataji is the term used. It's actually a respectful term, and it's an honorary term. Sometimes people don't like that terminology, but actually it's culture, it's history, it's etiquette, and it's the principle of life according to the Vedas. The Vedas are actually the standard by which human culture lives and grows. So she came, and Krishna saw her as his mother. And so what he did is he got rid of all of her poison by sucking it out. And at the same time, he killed her when he did that. And then, of course, she resumed her hideous form, which was huge. And the residents of Vrindavan were shocked to see. You can read about it in the Krishna book or in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Her body was so big that they had to cut it up into huge pieces and burn it in the fire. So anyway, but Krishna gave her liberation, almost on the same level as his mother, because he didn't see her as uh, a demon. He knew she was a demon, but he saw her, oh, she's coming in the form of my mother. So this is Krishna. He takes the good side, even amongst the demons, because he doesn't allow them to go on with their demoniac activity. Therefore, he suspends their life, but gives them a better life after they leave that demoniac body. That's Krishna, very kind. So he's playing with his friends, killing big demons, and they're all amazed. They go home and tell their mother, did you see Krishna, what he did today? My God, that demon was so big. And Krishna just picked him up and threw him. And they would say, oh, really? Krishna did that? Yeah. And they would all get excited. They thought, some of them were thinking maybe Krishna is some demigod or something. But they never really considered him to be the supreme absolute truth, but maybe at best some demigod. But they would always talk about to their mothers or friends after Krishna killed the demon. Sometimes they would try to conjecture. One time when Krishna killed one demon, all the boys got around him and said, hey, how did you do that? That was a big demon. I couldn't do that. And yesterday I beat you in wrestling, because when the boys play, they wrestle. They have competitions. And so sometimes Krishna loses to his friends. So one boy said, yeah, I beat you in wrestling. The other boy said, yeah, I stole your lunch yesterday and you were crying. But I couldn't kill that demon. How did you do it? And then Krishna didn't say anything. They're all trying to guess. And one boy says, it's his mother. She gives him all of this, and she gives him these amulets and armlets. And she puts a mantra inside it. And then in that mantra, he kills demons. His mother gives him a demon killing mantra. And then they're all guessing this way and that way. Finally, Krishna says, well, you really want to know how I killed the demon? Yeah. Well, actually, it goes back when I was born. There was this great sage, his name was Gargamuni. He came to see my father in a very secret meeting. And then he said to my father, you know, this boy of yours, he is very special. He actually is as good as Lord Narayan himself, the Supreme Lord. Actually, he is Lord Narayan. And so his father was shocked. Of course, his father forgot that after hearing it because he always went back to his paternal mood of taking care of Krishna as a father and does to his son. So when Krishna told that to his friends, they all started to laugh, including when they started to laugh, Krishna also started to laugh. And they're all laughing, and because they're all thinking, well, now he thinks he's God, you know. And they're laughing about what Krishna said. And they can't conceive that he is the absolute truth, because to them, he's the best friend, most lovable of all the boys. And so they just go out and start playing again, just as friends. So that's Vrindavan. That's the mood of Vrindavan. Krishna is so wonderful, but at the same time, he's never seen as the absolute truth. Gopis see him as the most beautiful and handsome boy who charms the hearts of everyone when he plays his flute. All the girls can become completely mad just hearing his flute. They run to him. And of course, then Krishna performs various pastimes with the girls, but mostly with Srimati Radharani, because that's his favorite. Only Radharani knows Krishna so good that she gives him so much pleasure that he can't even conceive of how wonderful her love is for him. He's amazed. Krishna reflects. You can read it in the CC. He said, you know, everyone comes to me for something, and I'm trying to give pleasure to everyone. Well, who can give pleasure to me? Whoever can give pleasure to me must be 100 times greater than I am. But I can't think of anyone. But then he remembers, oh, yes, there's one. That's Radharani. Only she can do it. So she has a special position amongst all of the girlfriends of Krishna. She can give pleasure to Krishna like no one. So the essence of Krishna consciousness is to unite Radha and Krishna together in their loving relationship. And that's the business of the manjaris in the spiritual world. So these are some of the pastimes of the Lord, which are so sweet, full of love, full of varieties, full of various types of moods of loving relationships. And it's the land of love, where Krishna is the supreme object of everyone's love. And everyone, you know, they all think about Krishna all the time. They're always so whatever age Krishna performs his pastimes in, he charms the hearts of all. And of course, when he got 11 and a half years old, he left Vrindavan and went to Mathura to do some business to kill Kamsa, and then he went on and killed few more demons, and the residents of Vrindavan were suffering tremendously. They couldn't even hardly maintain their life. Mother Yasoda was just like a statue. She was so stunned that her son has left, and she was just. And the gopis were constantly crying. Everyone was. It was like Vrindavan without Krishna. It was like, what is the use of Vrindavan? Of course, and there's many meetings with Krishna later on, and they met him in Mathura, and then later on, Krishna came back to Vrindavan just to please the gopis, to please his mother and father and all. But Krishna is always trying to give pleasure to those who love him, who worship him, and the devotees are always trying to give pleasure to Krishna. So it's a wonderful relationship. It's the perfection of existence to try to give pleasure to Krishna, because Krishna is always giving pleasure to all living entities, especially those who devote themselves fully to his service. in loving relationship. Okay, so stop there and maybe discuss a little bit more about what Krishna is. And
Thank you, Maharaj, for highlighting the sweet pastimes of Lordship. Uh, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realization, request devotees to please raise your hand. Also, if you have any, if you can't raise your hand or you can't speak, you can type in chat window and I will try to speak on your behalf. My humble request to devotees, we have today 33 devotees online. If you can please switch on your video. Uh, if you feel that Krishna was personal, supreme personality of Godhead, he was personal, not impersonal. So please try to switch on if you possible.
yeah, nice to see all of the persons. Yeah, there you go. We're getting there. We got a full screen on the place. Yeah,
7 more to go.
the, the the screen pictures are bigger today, which means less on the visual screen. Wonder why they're bigger today. Usually you get 5 across, now we're getting 4 across. Anyway, doesn't really matter.
I still can see 5 across, 5 by 5 window.
I, I only can see 4 across.
Oh,
Maybe my screen needs to be some adjusted.
yes. Yeah. Darya Mataji, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Maharaj. I just had a quick question. You mentioned that there are 3 different ages of Krishna. I was wondering, this like child, boyhood, and adult, um, do they also exist in the spiritual world, or why does he choose to perform his pastimes in 3 different ages?
Yeah, he comes as apparently he appears just like we do for ages, and he performs his pastimes.
But there is no, or there, am I wrong to say that there is no time, concept of time in the spiritual world? So it should be, he should have just an eternal form.
There's there is the conception of time, but not like material time. Material time brings something about and then moves it along, and then something disappears. In the spiritual world, is nothing is born, nothing ends, everything is eternal. But there is conceptions, just like there's the Astakaliya Leela. Krishna performs throughout the day, the 24 hours a day, different pastimes in Vrindavan. He's with Radharani, sometimes he's with the cowherd boy, sometimes he's eating breakfast, and sometimes he's killing demons. Astakaliya Leela. You could read about it. That's very popular amongst Vaishnavas to read about Krishna's pastimes in different times through the day. So the conception of time is there, but it's not the same element of material time. Is material time brings things in, moves things along, and then ends things. Nothing is brought in or ends. Everything is eternal. But there is this conception. Try to understand the word conception.
Mm.
There's also conceptions of demons in the spiritual world, but there's no demons, just a conception. So Krishna can kill demons in the spiritual world, but there's no real demons because no demons can be in the spiritual world. But there's a conception. That's his leela, that's his play. Everything that Krishna does is he does it, it's like it's enjoyment. Everything we do is like, we're trying to squeeze out some happiness in whatever we do, but when Krishna does it, it's just full of enjoyment. And if we bring ourselves into Krishna's activities, then we can experience the same happiness that he's experienced. So go back to Godhead, you'll get it all. You won't have to figure it out anymore. It'll be an experience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So Maharaj, by the time devotee asked this question, I don't know whether this is echoing at my end or other devotees can hear properly. I don't know. I hear my voice repeating. Everybody can hear? Can somebody confirm, please?
Yes, Prabhuji.
We can
You
hear
can hear
nicely.
clearly. Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
yes.
Then. That's...
Hare Krishna.
So Maharaj, I have this question that these devotees like Gopis, yeah, they were knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Lord because in the Gopi Geet 1031, they have mentioned that you are the Supreme, you are the Narayan, goddess of fortune is also serving you. You are residing in everybody's soul, in everybody's heart as just Paramatma. So they knew the actual position of Lordship. How come their love was so dominant over the opulence
Yeah,
that they could serve Krishna?
they forget. Krishna makes them forget his position, so they can chastise him. Radharani gets angry with him. Lalita chastises him. The gopis make fun of him sometimes. So they forget. This is called Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya makes them forget. And so the Leelas go on. It's, he doesn't want to be known as God. It's boring for him. He wants to play and have interactions like we do in this material world with friends and friends, lover and beloved, and other relationships. Where do you think these relationships come from in this world? They start in the spiritual world. Krishna has mothers, fathers, friends, lovers, animals. It's all that's the beginning of the existence. It reflects itself in the material world. But the inebriety of the material world is not destroys the whole quality of the relationships in this one. As above, so below. Yeah. We have these same relationships, but not of the same level of happiness and what we call longevity. Our relationships are punctuated by the time factor. Time factor changes everything. But the time factor doesn't change anything in the spiritual world, it just enhances it, makes it sweeter and better. You can't understand the spiritual world if you use material logic. You just have to accept what is being said by the Shastras, by the spiritual teachers, and by the Lord Himself. If you use material logic, you'll be still thinking Krishna is an ordinary person, but he's not. His spiritual
Thank you,
logic.
Maharaj. Yeah. I think it's a Lord special devotee, and that's why Lords did all this pastimes.
This is the reality. We're in this material world, we're in the shadow. The shadow is not the person, it's the reflection of the person. It has the form of the person, but it doesn't have the substance of the person. Same way, the material world doesn't have the substance of all of the happiness that we want. It's all found in the spiritual realm with Krishna. We want eternal life, can't have it here. We want knowledge, we have to go to school and learn things. And even that's not knowledge. And we want happiness, and then once in a while we get some relief from suffering and we think, oh, I'm happy. This is the material world. It's a place of suffering. It's a place of disappointment. You put all your marbles in one place, and then you find that there was a hole in the ground, and all your marbles fell into the hole, and there's no marbles. So that's why it says, don't try to make a permanent relationship in this. You can't do it. If you want that relationship, it's in the spiritual. And not only do you get the relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world, you get relationships with all of the other living entities in the spiritual, practically in the same way. The boys, they have loving relationships with each other. Everyone is inspired by Krishna's love. And therefore the whole thing is all about serving and enjoying that relationship in different moods. There's variety in the spiritual. Actually, there's more variety in the spiritual world than there is in the material.
Thank you,
I mean,
Maharaj. Thank you so
in the
much.
spiritual world, you can also change your form in the spiritual world to serve Krishna in another way. Say you're a cowherd boy and you want to be a cow, so you can change your form into a cow and serve Krishna as a cow. So the forms are not what we say fixed. You can change, but only devotees change only because they want to give pleasure to Krishna in different ways. That's why it's not about some ego thing about being different. No, it's just I want to serve Krishna this way to give pleasure to Krishna. As a cow, or as a river, or as a tree. Um, But the rasas are fixed. Everyone doesn't change so much. This is what we hear, but everyone finds the most happiness in their own relationship with Krishna. The gopis don't want to become cowherd boys. The cowherd boys don't want to be gopis.
Thank you, Maharaj. Uh,
Yeah,
Pavani, please go
we
ahead.
should get a greater understanding of this spiritual world. There's a lot of knowledge about the spiritual world. Books in the books of the books of the acharyas, especially the six Goswamis, Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Bhagavad Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami. They're all opening the vision of the spiritual world through their writings. And our ISKCON Society, Shiva Ram Maharaj has done a wonderful job presenting so many books on Krishna and Vrindavan. It's full. But we don't read. That's our problem. Read. Okay. More questions. We got Pavni
Yeah,
there.
Pavani, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Shiva Prabhupada and your lotus feet. Maharaj, I was reading Krishna book yesterday, and in that Prabhupada was describing that during when Krishna played his flute and the gopis left everything and came running to him, he told advice on how it's important to serve the husband and listen to the elder members of the family. and Prabhupada mentions that Krishna wasn't being sarcastic. So I don't get that point because Krishna wanted to have the association of the gopis, but he was
Well,
telling them to return home.
when he came, he told them to go back. So what he was just testing their love. That's all. They didn't go back. He's, he was just testing. He talked about family responsibility to them. They didn't want to hear any of that stuff. They just, they were kind of like bewildered. He calls us, and then we get here, he tells us to go back. He said, "Don't you know your reputation will be ruined? You'll be alone in the dead of night with a young boy. What will other people say?" He was just enhancing the whole mood. Krishna is a lot of fun. You never know what he's going to do next. But you understand one thing, the mood of loving exchange is there in everything that Krishna does. Whatever he does, it's done out of love. When he kills the demons, he kills them because they're his parts and parcels. He has a loving relationship with them. But he removes them from their demoniac bodies and gives them a better situation. So he enjoys killing the demons because then the demons actually get benefited.
Thank you, Maharaj.
That's when he comes to the material.
Maharaj, I also had a second question. You said that everything that is in the spiritual world is just a perverted reflection that is in the material world. So, what about things like
No,
intoxication?
no, it's the other way around. The material world is a perverted reflection.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mahesh. So, what about the things like intoxication? Do they exist in like a good way in the spiritual world?
Yeah, the Balaram came to see the gopis. He wanted some Varuni beverage, which is a honey liquor wine. And then they gave Balaram. Varuni is actually a personality. She comes in the form of this honey wine. And Balaram got intoxicated and started chastising Indra. Told him his wife's name is Sachi. Indra's wife's name is Sachi. He said, "You plaything of Sachi." He started chastising Indra. So yeah. So well, yeah, Balaram gets intoxicated. But it's all transcendental happiness. Then he came to the Jamuna and he called the Jamuna to come. And she didn't come. So he got angry and he took out his plowshare. He has two weapons, a plow and a plow. And he took the plow and started cutting the Jamuna into little streams. Then she realized, oh my God, this must be the Supreme Lord. So she came running and fell at the feet of Balaram. You can see the picture. The devotees have made a portrait out of that leader. And then he forgave her, and then she offered service by allowing Balaram to jump into her waters and sport with the gopis in the water. So Prabhupada said that's why the Jamuna is cut into different streams even today. It's due to Balaram.
Okay, Mahesh, thank you so much.
Transcendental intoxication. There's also a story where all the gopis got drunk too on some nectar, and they start speaking all crazy things. You could read about that. Shiva Ramaraj's book. They're making fun of each other and making fun of Krishna. So everything you want to do in this world, there's always some problem that comes with it. But in the spiritual world, it's simply ananda. It's simply ananda.
Thank you.
Bhagavan Chaitanya.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to Vaishnavas everywhere. Guru Maharaj, as I am listening to today's class, and also based on Pavani's question just now, everybody has to start with faith. There is a progression in bhakti. You have to start with faith and you attain perfection. Faith is a hard thing in the beginning. So in the beginning, there has to be reverence before you can, take one of those bhavas towards Krishna as my lover, as my son. Is that true? And also, I'm completely struck by the gopis' sacrifice. To be thinking in those times in Vrindavan, some of these wonderful devotees were married and they would go off at 2 a.m. to do leelas. That's stunning. This is the leap of faith that it took for them to do that, and the complete surrender that it represents, because they are sacrificing everything. Like you said, the reputation, they're sacrificing everything they had. Yes, Maharaj?
Yeah, but for them, Krishna is everything. Their husbands is just a role that husbands just play this role so to make the adventure of love even more exciting. Love becomes more exciting when you cheat. But not in the material world, because in the material world, it's not allowed. But in the spiritual world, cheating is the best form of loving relationship. It's called Parakiya Ras. There's Swakiya. Swakiya means married, and Parakiya is lawless love, where the gopis have husbands, but then Krishna becomes actually their object of affection and service. And they try to hide from their husbands. Radharani had to hide from Chatila. Chatila is the mother of Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu is the so-called husband of Radharani. So she's always watching out that Radharani doesn't go with Krishna. When Krishna comes, she chases him away. So one time Krishna came, he took the form of Abhimanyu so he could be with Radharani, and he was with Radharani. Then the real Abhimanyu came, and while that was happening, and then Krishna, in the form of Abhimanyu, said to Chatila, "Look, here comes Krishna in my form." And then she started beating up her own son. So you can have a lot of fun with Krishna.
Yes.
And the thing is, he never loses, but sometimes he appears to lose just to show that the love of the gopis is superior than his love for them. Napareham. Napareham means just be satisfied with your own love for me, because I can't repay your love. It's too much. He says that. Yeah, these pastimes just charm the heart. And if we get reading these pastimes, we can leave this material world. We actually enter into the spiritual realm just by absorbing ourselves in Krishna's pastimes, because they're not part of this material world. Okay, we got Sri Devi.
Shridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Guru Maharaj. As you were telling us about the wonderful pastimes of Krishna and how the gopis interact, how the gopas interact, how he kills demons, we hear all these things. But when will the penny
Yes.
finally drop? When will we really get it that this is not our home? Our home is really with Krishna. We hear a million times, you're not this body, you're not this body. But when will we finally get it? Yes, I'm not this body, I don't belong here. And what am I doing in this place? When will I get back to Krishna? When will those sentiments become the topmost? When it'll become most urgent for us to become serious in Krishna consciousness?
You can read about how the great souls, they go through different stages of loving relationship where they get to the point where they can't live in this world anymore without Krishna. It becomes impossible. And then Krishna takes the as long, just like Lord Chaitanya, someone said to Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, you have so much love for Krishna. Lord Chaitanya says, I have no love for Krishna. And I can prove it. If I had love for Krishna, why am I still trying to maintain this body? Of course, we have to maintain the body for devotional service, but that's all. Not for any kind of enjoyment in this world. The body is meant to be used in the service of the Lord because it's also Krishna's energy. So when we get completely, what we say, what's the word? Completely, trying to find that word. Fed up, you might say. Man, that's not a good word. When we see this world is completely useless. So Raghunath Das Swami goes through that stage. It's a stage of love where you look at everything. You look at your possessions, you look at your husband, you look at your wife, you look at everything, and you think, oh, boy, there's no happiness in this stuff. You can't jump up to that level and try to imitate that. That comes naturally as our love for Krishna increases. But the best way to live in this world is to preach. If you really want to really enjoy Krishna consciousness, you can be not in this world, but at the same time continue to maintain yourself in this world simply by the mood of preaching. That's the mood by which the devotees can transcend all of this material happiness. Excuse me. Yeah, so
Thank you. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Best way to be in this world is to preach so that you're actually with Krishna and not in this world.
yeah, because there's special mercy that comes with preaching. Special mercy. Krishna takes care of the devotee 100. Krishna takes care of everybody. But for those who sacrifice everything in order to give mercy to the conditioned souls, they become so dear to Krishna that Krishna never leaves them. But still, even if everyone's preaching in some way. You can preach by being the perfect example of what it means to practice devotional service. That's a form of preaching. Those who draw paintings of Krishna, the artists, that's preaching. Those who write books, that's preaching. Those who do anything in the service of the Lord that benefits others through that service, then that's one form of preaching. But when that becomes constant, then one is on the transcendental path. there's so many ways by which you can, we call the word preach. Sometimes we call it outreach. Sometimes we call it teaching. Sometimes we call it compassion towards others, different ways to explain it. So I remember one time I was in Canada at a festival, and the class was to think of different ways we can reach out to others in Krishna consciousness. So everyone was brainstorming, trying to think. We came up with more than 40 different ways by which one can somehow reach others in Krishna consciousness. So it's not limited to just philosophical explanations like that. There's many ways. But the mood is let me bring others into Krishna. Let me help others become Krishna conscious. We can start with in association with devotees, and then that expands out to others.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for clarifying my obeisances.
Hare Krishna. Hope you had a nice time.
Thanks,
today.
Mat. Uh,
Sorry?
we have
Okay, we'll go on to the next question.
yes, Maharaj. We have 4 minutes to go in 1 hour. But Raj Prabhu, please go ahead.
I have about 10 more minutes before I have to go to the temple. So
Sure,
we got
Maharaj.
about
We'll make sure.
minutes here.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Guru Maharaj, my question is a little off the topic. Today, I am in Ujjain. We are celebrating Mahashivratri. So,
Ah,
since Ujjain is the place of Lord Shiva, people are naturally attracted to Lord Shiva and worship of Lord Shiva here. But how do we use this cultural continuity that people are already favorable to accept Lord Shiva in order to preach Krishna consciousness? Is there any way?
well, we honor Lord Shiva also. He's Mahadev. He's Vaishnava Yata Shambhu. Yeah. So we don't perform the activities of the Shivites on Shivaratri, but we celebrate that day, just like I'm here in Mayapur. And tomorrow, Monday, is Shivaratri here. I don't know why it's different in Ujjain. That's a little bewildering. Anyway, tomorrow, so they have a program in the evening at Rajpur where they do a dance culture, and there's some um, offerings, and then at the end there's a Maha Abhishek for Lord Shiva. There's a gigantic Shiva Linga here, very big one, and every year I usually go, and probably will go tomorrow night also. Uh, they offer garlands and they bathe the Lord. So we don't do it right on the. We do it in a section where there actually is a deity there, a Shiva Lingam there. That's in Rajpur, which is a little bit away from Mayapur. Yeah, so we can honor Shiva's. Prabhupada was saying today, I was reading something, he said, we should do what Shiva does. He worships Krishna. So read the prayers that Shiva also offers to Krishna, offers to Ram. Try to understand his bhakti. He never presents himself as the Supreme Lord, but there are those who follow him and see him as the Supreme Lord. So he accepts that so he can bring them ultimately to Krishna. Those who follow Shiva perfectly, he actually takes them to Krishna eventually. So Ujjain is big. Mahakal is there. He's really big. I've been to did you go to the compound? The huge
Yes,
compound?
yes, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. It's a nice experience. They have all of these big, gigantic statues of the acharyas and other great saints. You can watch the bathing of Mahakal. It's, I mean, the hotels, they're actually opening up hotels there just to facilitate all of the pilgrims to come. It's nice. But we don't do it at our temple. We go to Lord Chaitanya. When he was traveling in South India, he visited many Shiva temples. Just to
Today we
show.
had a sorry. Today we had a Abhishek here at ISKCON Ujjain, Maharaj. Abhishek of Lord Shiva here at ISKCON Ujjain.
Oh, that's nice. In the temple?
Yes, Maharaj, in the temple hall.
That's special for Ujjain because Ujjain is like Mahakal. I travel. Well, sometimes I travel. Sometimes people ask me, where are you going? I say Ujjain. They say, oh. It's like, all right, yeah. I say, well, yeah, Mahakal, but then Radha Madan Mohan also. Yeah, so yeah, you're lucky. You are not lucky, you're fortunate to have be there today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
So, Maharaj, just very related thing, very quick thing. In relation to Shivratri, was there any guidance or anything given by Srila Prabhupada? Because in few ISKCON temples, I was told by a few devotees that they, like congregation would like to do the Mahabhishek of this Shivling on Mahashivratri, but they don't allow because they said, no, no, this is not right.
No, Prabhupada just said we can fast on that day in the morning. Mhm. Maha Maha Mahashivaratri is once a year, but the Shivites celebrate Shivaratri once a month. But once a year, there's the Mahashiva. So we can fast. And you also read in the Krishna book where Nanda Maharaj and some of the cowherd birds went to one place where Shiva is worshipped on that day and they fasted. So even Nanda Maharaj, yeah. Shiva is very close to Vishnu, practically almost the same. Prabhupada, when he was asked, what's the difference? Prabhupada gave the analogy that if you take milk and you put a culture in it, you make it yogurt. And so what's the difference between yogurt and milk? Nothing. Yogurt is still milk, but yogurt can't act like milk and milk can't act like yogurt. But the substance is the same, just milk. So Shiva's like the yogurt and Krishna's like the milk. Or Vishnu's like the milk. Many devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness were followers of Shiva in one form or another before they actually came to Krishna consciousness. That was my experience also.
Thanks, Maharaj. Uh, there's one question on the chat. Maybe we will take this as a last question because Maharaj
Yeah.
also needs to leave. Brisha Prabhu is asking, Lord Balram is God's servant. His very existence is to expand and serve Lord Krishna in many different ways. In which way Lord Balram served Krishna when he enjoyed with the gopis separately from Krishna?
Yeah. Balaram is not Lord's servant. He's God in the mood of service. Don't call him Lord's servant. He's God in the mood of serving. But he's the supreme Lord also. You have to get that right understanding. So in the mood of Madhurya Ras with the gopis, he becomes Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. So he takes gopi form. Just to please the Lord in all of the different rasas. And Sanya what's the first one? What's the first one called? Sataras.
Shantaras.
I'm sorry. Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhuryaras. He takes different forms to serve the Lord in that way. But he's God in the mood of service. See, the whole principle is that even God likes to be servant. Krishna wants to be a servant too, so he comes as Lord Chaitanya. And in the role of Lord Chaitanya, he's in the mood of service to himself. Trying to figure that one out. So the principle is that the servant actually enjoys equal to the Lord or even greater than the Lord. That's why the Lord wants to become servant, because he can enjoy more in that role than he can as the role of God. Yeah.
I hope Rishabh Prabhu it answers your question.
So he's asking, what would be the difference between
Yeah.
Lord and
Lord Balram. He is saying, so what would be a difference between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Balram in this regard of God who is serving?
They're both serving. The Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahiyani. He's Krishna, but he's in the mood of Radharani service to himself. In Balaram, he changes forms for those service. And when he's in Sakyaras, he keeps his form as Balaram. When he is in Vatsalyaras, he keeps his form as Balaram. When he's in Dasyaras, he keeps his form as Balaram. But when he's in Shantaras or Madhuryaras, he changes his form for service. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So
To depart, sorry to leave, but I have other engagements.
thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Anant Koti Vaishnav Brind ki jai.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Vishwanath Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you,
Krishna.
Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare